Hello everyone, I'm Want to Mess. Welcome to a new Raid Shadow Legends video. This week we're going to be going over my weekly Platinum Arena reset, talking about what I did well, what I did wrong. Let's jump right into it. So this week, as I'm sure you've seen from my title, I actually did not do super well. This is the worst week I've had in a while. Technically not like the lowest placement I've ever had, but definitely did not do so well. So we're going to see kind of what happens, right? So here we're attacking a Lydia double Mountain King team. Fortunately, this one does not have Duchess. Duchess tends to be the person I have a difficult time with the Mountain King Lydia teams because my ethos is just not really strong enough to kind of punch through and kill them. So that one, luckily, no Duchess, able to almost one-shot them. So here we see Hegemon team. I believe this is Mr. Tam, if I remember correctly, fellow content creator. Just hitting in with my standard anti-Hegemon team nowadays with Kymar. 14 seconds, pretty quick. Yeah, Mr. Tam, sorry for the hit, buddy. So now I believe... so, once again, another team that I've been kind of having issues with in the... or at least recently. Teams with Vogoth, I believe his name is. So here we see... So I do the A2 and it goes fine, but then Swift Parry proc on Duchess. So instead of dying, Duchess actually gets healed up a bunch from Vogoth. And then there's Lydia on this team. I kind of forget about that. My cooldown, my revive is on a 4-turn cooldown. I figured it's not worth my time and I back out. So I probably should have brought in. I didn't really need Kymar versus that team. What I really should have done was bring in. Just bring in like Krisk or something like that to help protect me against the Mountain King, because there was no Hegemon. So now we see me attacking another variation of this team. By this point I was already getting pretty frustrated with reset, or excuse me, with Arena this week. So I resort back to Siphi Double Rotos, and I say resort back to. It's still a very good composition. It's still very good on offense. However, it's definitely not like the fastest team that you can run. So I really like running. Some people like to run, you know, like Lydia as the shield champion. Some people like Krisk. I'm really a big fan of Mountain King, especially against these other teams that run Mountain King. I think I've explained before, I run a very, very strong Mountain King, so he can usually one-shot or get the enemy Mountain King's very low health so that my Rotoses don't have to deal with being weak affinity versus a super high health target. So here we see, so this is a Warlord team. Warlord is arguably the best champion on defense in the entire game right now. His A3 ability, the lockout, is just insane. However, that person ran Duchess with him, and Duchess doesn't really enable him very well. Siphi is definitely the #1 Warlord enabler, and we will definitely see that later on in the video. Here we see, so the Siphi and the Duchess actually resist my Kymar. He's in immunity gear, so he doesn't have crazy high accuracy. So they resist him, they don't fall asleep, so they actually cut in on my team because obviously if I'm running Kymar, my team is not really speed tuned. My Arbiter gets slept there before she can revive my Trunda, and so now we're just kind of in a really bad spot here. So I kind of a desperate reset by Kymar. I try to see if I can possibly finish them off. However, they get the sleep off on my Trunda, plus Krisk provokes her anyway, so even if she had gotten woken up, it wouldn't have mattered. So pretty poor loss here, 51 seconds there. I think the team that I hit that team with was still correct. I think it was just... I just didn't have enough accuracy. I think it was just a stat check, right? I just didn't have enough accuracy. I didn't have the stats that I needed to hit that team. So that's my fault for attacking it, right? So now here we see another Mountain King variation team. I actually used the incorrect ability there. With my Krisk against Mountain King teams, I really need to be using his A2 ability, the one that does ally protection. Luckily, the Mountain King does not resist my Krisk, so I'm able to I'm able to land the provoke so that he doesn't target my Trunda. However, this could have gone... I don't think I would have lost, but it could have gone poorly if Mountain King had been able to use his A2 and killed my my Trunda there. So we're down to like the last 10 minutes or so, and now we're gonna start seeing. I make a couple of pretty bad mistakes towards the end here. So now I talked about earlier Warlord being pretty much the #1 defense champion and Siphi being the #1 sort of enabler of him. Luckily, so I bring in my crowd control Hegemon versus this team, and what happens is you'll see the Tormund there actually 3% resists my my Madam's defense down. Now it's strictly my own fault that I don't notice it, right? That's my fault. But I don't notice that defense down doesn't land, and I use my A2 ability on the Tormund because he has the highest health, and without defense down, I don't do enough damage to kill the rest of the team. So now you'll see me kind of doing the salty run back. I come back in here, I land the defense on Tormund, and boom, instantly full wipe the entire team. So that was my own mistake. If I had literally just targeted somebody else, or if I'd used my A3 ability first, that would not have happened. So just that's a pretty bad mistake on my end. Now we're attacking I'm pretty sure this is the exact same team except for it's Tormund in the lead instead of Siphi. Now you'll see I use the exact same strategy here. A2 on the highest health target, reset defense down, do it all over again. Overall, it's when it works, it's a very fast win, sort of. But you'll see as I push up a little bit higher here, I'm at 4351 points. I believe on my next refresh, I fight like an actual page of like top 5, top 10, top 20 people. And we'll kind of see how those fights go instead. So now once again, high health Duchess, A2, triple swift parry. And now you'll actually see right there, my Hegemon didn't land a single debuff. And it wasn't that he got resisted or anything like that. It's that Swift Parry is actually bugged right now. Swift Parry, or it's not Swift Parry, it's, to my knowledge, it is the debuff of block damage. Or, wow, I'm just totally off tonight. Unkillable, right? Because Swift Parry procs Unkillable. When you have Unkillable on, and I don't know if it's every single form of Unkillable, I don't know if it's every champion that does it, but at least when you proc Swift Parry, debuffs just don't seem to land on you, which is very strange. So Plarium is aware of it, and I think that they're working on something to fix it. So now once again we see here, I run my Ethos here into another one of these Duchess Mountain King teams. Now, fortunately, I was actually strong enough to one-shot most of the team. However, once again they proc Swift Parry. Now, unfortunately, the Mountain King is just barely fast enough to cut in before my Ethos takes a turn there. If my Ethos had been fast enough there, it would have been a little bit over 30 seconds, and this would have been, a perfectly fine speed for the fight. Now, unfortunately, my Kymar only has his A1 ability, which is AoE, so I was forced to wake up the Mountain King, and once again, he goes and he kills my Ethos. I'm not backing out because I know I will win this fight, assuming nothing catastrophic happens. But, we went from what should have been, or what could have been a, 30 to 35 second fight to now we're pushing well over a minute. Yeah, I believe I finished him off, and the Mountain King actually would have taken another turn there and killed my Ethos again if Kymar hadn't slept him, so that could have gone even longer. So I'm feeling really frustrated, sort of, with the meta and kind of what's going on to the past night. Before I started recording, it was feeling like everything was going wrong, right? You always remember all the negative, and you tend to not remember the positive. But I felt like I was getting pretty darn unlucky in terms of everybody proccing Swift Parry, etc. But here we pick up a pretty quick win. 19 seconds is pretty good. That's an interesting team, but I really don't like what's his name, Cardiel on defense. His AI seems to be very poor when it comes to defense, right? His team had debuffs on them, and he has an ability that cleanses debuffs, and he still used his ally attack ability. So that's not too great. And once again here we see I actually use the incorrect ability again. So Krisk, I need to A2 to protect my Trunda. We will see it come into play here. Actually, I think this is a super slow Mountain King, and I think I get back fast enough to use the A2, so that's good. But could have gone very poorly. So 26 seconds. So I'm picking it back up a little bit. We have about 6 minutes left to go. Offense is going a little bit better here. But realistically, I'm fighting the top of my page, which if the top of your page are very fast free wins, go right ahead. Now, so 6 seconds here. This was a very good fight for me to take. But if they're only worth, you know, 8 or 9 points, you should usually try to go to the bottom of your page and fight people that are 11 or 12. Again, if the top of your page, if you know for a fact it's a very fast 6 to maybe 12-second win, go for it. Otherwise, you're usually better off trying to go for the higher point people because they're directly competing with you, right? And so now we see here, again, Ethos is not the best option for attacking Vogoth teams, but I only have the one Trunda, and she's in immunity gear, so she has a hard time solo killing certain Duchess teams. So I brought in the Ethos. Unfortunately, I got 3%ed again, and the Vogoth did not land defense down. But now here, so like I said before, I refresh and I find a new page of people. And these are like the much stronger teams. So you'll see there, I bring in my Crowd Control Hegemon to try to slow down the Siphi. And the team full resists my Kymar. Now my Kymar is 480 or so accuracy after masteries. So obviously that's not crazy high, but that's a pretty good amount of accuracy. Now we see here, I kind of do, it's almost like a salty run back. I attack somebody else with a very similar team. However, this one's even worse for me to hit because it actually has a Duchess lead, so that team is even faster. Now, the issue that happened with that team was they were just straight up faster than me. I didn't get the chance to find out if my Kymar could have slept them or not. I'm not totally sure, right? Because they were running the Duchess lead instead of Resistance, so... but back-to-back mistakes, that really tanked my score, and I knew I was in huge trouble. So what I did here was I made the conscious decision to attack this team with Siphi Double Rotos, Mountain King, which they don't have a Hegemon. They don't really have like a clear high damage source. This is not like a good strategy for me to place high. I figured I just made 2 humongous back-to-back offense mistakes. I have absolutely no chance at placing high this week. So what I do is I target somebody else who I know is in Tau and can compete for, you know, top 1, top 3, top 5, whatever it is. And I say, you know what, I'm going to attack them. I'm going to attack them with a team that I know is a guaranteed 100% win. And I'm just going to do my best to try to lower their score rather than to place higher myself this week. So this is a pretty boring fight, but that was my mindset. That's why I chose to do what I did here. So we'll see. We killed the 2 revivers, kind of just cleaning it up here. I should have manualed my Rotos there to try to kill off the Tormin instead of A3ing Warlord, since the Warlord was already super low health anyways. See, I pop it off of auto there to A3, and we're good to go. Minute 14, so again, I was not going for speed there. It was just hit somebody who's dangerous for my clanmates and lower them. So you see I back out of that fight, and I don't hit the other Tau member there because I don't like just proclaiming things are broken, but Necrit is just... even if I run Siphi Double Rotos, a strong Necrit team, it's not a guaranteed win. So it's not really worth it for me to risk a fight like that when I'm trying to get a guaranteed win to help out my team, rather than like risk possibly losing to that person, which would be even worse. So you see there, I just run my speed team. I know that I'm faster than that member of Tau Yu-Gi-Oh! So I bring in the speed team. We're all good to go. Now you'll see here again, Duchess, Krisk, Force Champion like Candrafon. I bring in the Ethos, and I don't remember exactly what happens in this fight. So I use my A2 ability there. I was struggling a lot the other night. I'm so used to using A2 on Trunda that I used my A2 on Ethos, which his A2 is still pretty strong, but his A3 ability is slightly stronger. And you'll see I back out there. And the reason why A2 is especially bad versus this team is because the way you hit champions work is that Ethos does not have immunity gear. So I hit Duchess, I hit Krisk, then I hit, I believe, Necrit, and then Candrafon. So I hit the Krisk second, and it's a 3-hit, it's a triple hit ability, right? So that means that my Ethos had decreased attack placed on him probably after the first hit. So that means that the rest of my hits did not do very much damage, and that's why I didn't end up killing that team. If I had used the A3 ability instead, I don't know if I would have one-shot that team, but it probably would have gone a bit cleaner. So you see I bring in the Trunda, use the A2 on the high health target, and even though she's in immunity gear and my Ethos is in Savage gear, she cleans it up a lot better. So it's just, if anything, this video is a pretty clear showcase of the gap between Ethos, who I consider to be probably the second best AoE damage dealer, and Trunda, who's definitely number 1. So here we're attacking, so another Duchess Mountain King team. This one I wasn't too worried about. Yeah, because we were fairly low ranked, and wow, that's already the end of reset. Holy moly, I was not paying attention, but I did not get that fight in time, unfortunately. And you'll see here I actually place 92nd this week. Once again, this is not my lowest placement ever. However, I felt like this was the worst I've ever done on offense. I don't remember counting them, but I had probably anywhere from 5 to 8 offense losses in the last maybe half hour. Probably 5 of them in the last 15 minutes or so, which is really bad. Now, the really sad part is that my defense actually held up pretty well. You'll see a couple of wins there towards the last 5 minutes or so, which is a really big deal. We have some more wins up in and around the sort of 10 to 11 minute mark, with some losses right around the 20-minute mark, right? So what could have possibly happened is, when I took those losses on offense, I could have dipped down into like the lower ranks of Platinum in the maybe 50 to 100 range, and people who maybe aren't used to seeing me probably hit me, and they weren't really ready for it and lost my defense. That's one possibility. Or I'd like to think that my defense does, pick up some wins, which we see. There's a couple of names that I recognize on defense with wins and losses. So overall, the defense did really well, but just massive mistakes on offense. So, okay, everybody, thank you for watching my video this week. Again, I'm probably the most disappointed in myself with the poor placement. I just really need to shape up my offense. I guess I just need to stop using Ethos. He's kind of baiting me. I need to get more used to Kymar, because I've been used to before I was running a 320 speed Immunity Arbiter, and now my Kymar is 300 speed. So that's a pretty big speed gap between them. So I just need to shape up my teams, get more used to the offenses, which I've had 2 weeks. I should be used to them, but my score continues to go down. So hopefully I'll come back strong, do better next week. I'm going to come a little bit more prepared for those Duchess Heavy Force teams. I'm going to try a new offense that somebody suggested to me. So hopefully you'll see me come back next week real strong and place really well next week. So thank you again for watching my video. Please like, subscribe, comment, etc., all that YouTube stuff, and I will see you again soon. Peace.